Amanda, aka Mandy, is one of the most merciless, diabolical, cynical, and meanest characters I've seen in cartoons. No one in the show, not even the Grim Reaper himself, in this piece of crap, reaches the evil that Mandy bursts. We're talking about someone who was capable of melting a brain-craving alien simply by having her brain sucked by him and later had control of his body. Someone who eats a slice of pizza that gives nightmares and yet she becomes a nightmare. Or manipulates the nightmare. Whatever. Someone who's predicted to be an immortal world dictator thousands of years into the future. Someone who prevents someone from unleashing a plague against humanity simply because she wants to be the one unleashing a plague against humanity. And yet she's my favorite character of this show and one of my all-time favorite Cartoon Network characters. Okay, how did that happen? I'm not alone in this, by the way. Whenever I ask a Billy and Mandy fan who's his favorite character, the answer seems to be the same. Her. I mean, how? Now, it is very normal for someone to have a cruel, despicable, and villainous character as their favorite, but she's one of the main characters and she never gets punished. How is that even possible? I may have an answer. Good writing. Let's look at Mandy's character. She's all the things I mentioned before, cynical, merciless, and mean, but she's also smart, sarcastic, and introverted. The introverted and smart aspects of her serves well at appealing to me. I mostly like smart and logical characters, and the introverted side of her makes me relate to her. Not that she's always at home, in fact, most of the time she's at Billy's house, but she has shown to be someone who's not the biggest fan of the outside, and I like that.
I hate outside.
She's not much of a talking person, and I also like that, although sometimes you wish she would be the one talking, especially those moments when Billy and Owen are just spatting out dumb words. She's a bit of a tomboy, physically strong, and does not like getting in touch with her emotions. She only chooses to embrace her dark side. Keep that in mind because it's one of the key aspects that makes Mandy likable. Mandy's best friends are Billy and Grim. The thing about her friends is that she never shows appreciation for them, takes them for granted, and she mostly expresses hatred for them. So the question here is how she maintains likable. 3 main reasons. 1. We expect her to be cruel. She makes it clear that being mean is what she chooses to be, and that includes being mean to her friends. 2. Billy and Grim aren't the nicest friends. Billy is a hearted person, but his stupidity generates jerkiness. You almost likely see Billy do jerky things more than anyone else. Not because he's at heart a horrible person, in fact, he's a loving person at heart. But because of his lack of intellectuality and logic keeps him from thinking before he acts, causing him to do irrational and horrible things. Which is why when you see Mandy abusing him and being mean to him, you almost feel like he deserves it. Plus, he rarely feels hurt or even aware that when Mandy's abusing him. Grim is different, but at the same time, same story. Grim is evil in general. He hates Billy and especially hates Mandy and wishes both of them would die. So you won't really feel like he doesn't deserve to be abused and enslaved by Mandy. However, that doesn't mean you won't feel bad for him. Grim may be evil, but deep down, he's a nice guy and sometimes a good friend. When he's not wishing Billy and Mandy were dead, which not only makes you like Grim and feel bad for him, but gives you a reason to watch the show until the end, because you want to see Mandy and Grim's relationship and see where it goes. It was one of the things that made me binge watch this show with no stop, except when I had to sleep, take a bath, watch a few YouTube videos, and go to school. 3. Mandy isn't always mean. When Mandy's not abusing or enslaving her friends, she's your every cynical friend. She hangs out with her friends like everyone else. She watches TV with her friends like everyone else. She plays games with her friends like everyone else. And most of all, she can be supportive, in her own way, and helpful. You'd be surprised how many times Mandy has helped Billy at times he needed. Sometimes, or heck, most of the times, she's the one interested in helping Billy. Sometimes not even Billy cares about being saved. And the thing about her helping her friends is that it never happens because she's forced or something. She just does it out of her own anonymous, weird, strange, and hidden kindness. Yeah, sometimes she justifies by saying that's for her own selfish benefit, and sometimes she wants Billy to suffer or go away or be destroyed. Like I said before, we expect that from her. She chooses to embrace her dark side. She chooses to be mean because it's what she wants to be. So those moments when she's acting selfishly do not really surprise us. But even so, it doesn't really occur as often as we expect to. Honestly, you'll feel more surprised at how many times she can strangely be altruistic, and that shows that she's really not dark and mean, and that she has a warm side. That's what makes me like her at least. But not just that, I also like her cruel side. Those moments when she shows to be merciless and scary can come off as wow moments.
Tell me how to fix this, and you're gonna do it now.
And why should I do that?
You're gonna do it, or so help me, I will pull your stupid cloak through your eyes and use it as reins to ride your bony butt back to the darkest pits of the underworld from whence you came.
I like her dark, realistic, and anti-beautiful concepts. She kind of reminds me of House, the way how she tells and shows the truth, just how our world is in a fairy tale. I also like how she's, well, sometimes the hero. It's kind of funny. You would expect a character like her to be the villain of every episode, and well, she has been the villain in several episodes, but she's mostly the hero. It's just insane how they do that without making those moments feel out of character. Another thing about Mandy that attracted me in this show is the mystery surrounding her anger. The question of how she never smiled and why she hates everything tickles my brain. I mean, really, why? The show never really explains, but I have a few theories. Two, to be exact. The first is emotional privacy. One thing you'll quickly realize about Mandy is she's not much of a social person and she's an emotionally distant person. The general explanation for the things is that she hates everyone. But what if it was the other way around? Let's look at Big Bigwee Adventure. When Billy was captured by the Loch Ness Monster, Mandy showed no concern, at first. But then when she realized he might not survive, her eyes were glaring. Suddenly, she wasn't embracing her anger and cruelty because she was too overwhelmed with fear for someone she really cares about. But surely enough, that's not the scene I'm more interested in. Let's look at the scene where Mandy experiences her biggest fear. Her biggest fear is that she becomes a loving and caring person. That seems fair, but listen to what adult Mandy says.
But I was wrong. I was wrong about a lot of things. When I was your age, I never told Billy and Grim how important they really were to me. I don't. Why don't you?
She expresses how she was wrong for not telling Grim and Billy how much she cares about them. What if the nightmare is not that she cares about them, but the expression? What if her biggest fears are her emotions because she doesn't understand them? People fear and hate what they don't understand. Maybe she chooses to be dark and cruel and emotionally distant because it's easier for her to deal with her emotions. It's easy for her to hate and push aside her emotions and stick with anger. She may have been dealing with her emotions like that for years and now she's just used to it. She may not know how to handle her emotions because of its complexity, which is probably why she wishes to be a world dictator. Because she wants every single thing in the world at her control, like how she wants to control her emotions. My second theory is the most likely to me because it doesn't rule out the first theory. And it's that it was her parents' fault. This is actually something I truly believe to have some truth in it. On one of my previous videos, I mentioned that Erwin is the only character I hate in Billy and Mandy. I wish I could take that back. Oh, not because I'm beginning to like Erwin, no, I still hate him. It's because I realized after that video there are several other characters on that show I don't like. Like this thing.
Hey! Play now!
Oh my god, I can't stand this. Not just this, but also Mandy's parents. I dislike them now. These guys are horrible parents. How many times Mandy has skipped breakfast, lunch, dinner, and spent the night outside home? Here's the answer: almost every single episode. These parents do not give a crap about her only daughter. They let her own daughter treat them like maids. They have an unusual reaction, an expression of confusion whenever one of them tells that she loves Mandy. They occasionally wish they had let her only daughter be raised by wolves when she was a baby. You might be thinking, oh, of course they have those reactions. Mandy is scary. Yes, she is, but she's also her daughter. It doesn't matter how she looks and behaves, they should not feel intimidated by her. It's their responsibility as parents to show dominance over her. Here's a crazy theory. What if Mandy is what she is because she didn't receive proper parental education? What if Mandy is cruel and merciless to others because her parents didn't properly teach her the meaning of consequence and punishment? What if Mandy wasn't taught how to deal with her emotions like in my last theory because her parents just didn't care enough to help her deal with her emotions? And honestly, would you really be surprised? They let her 10-year-old daughter spend the night at her neighbor's house, of which lies the Grim Reaper and a dysfunctional family. She's rarely home. Harold even thought Mandy was his daughter at one point. And you know what they do when Mandy does who knows what, by the way? They make out. They make out. They have an uncontrollable and cynical daughter walking around who knows where, and yet they show no concern. The only times they show concern when she was actually home while they were at home as well. So when their own daughter is not home, they're having a blast, but when she's actually home, they start fearing for her lives. Pathetic. Utterly pathetic. Oh, but Dan, you're being ridiculous. They're fine parents. Billy's parents are worse. Fine, if you don't believe me, I have more evidence. Remember the episode Heartburn, the one I reviewed in one of my previous videos? You can check it out if you want. I don't want to spoil the episode, but there's one important plot point I need to discuss. In the episode, it is revealed that Oren has half of his true heart similar to Mandy's. When Mandy asks how is that possible, Oren explains that when he was a baby, he was pretty aggressive, violent, and rotten kid, which is why half of his true heart is like that. However, thanks to the love and care he received from his dad, he became what he is today, Big Weenie. Like, do I even have to point out the obvious? It's right there. Oren just completely proved my point. Mandy and Oren had the exact true heart when they were babies. The difference is that one received parental guide, while the other had parents who were only sucking their faces. Mandy's rage and hatred might even be the result of parental neglect. I will blame these two lousy parents until I find a better theory. I love the grim reflections of Billy and Mandy, but I really wish they had given more focus on Mandy. I've actually said this on one of my previous videos. You'd be surprised how many times Mandy only showed up at the beginning of the episode and then forgotten later in the episode. Heck, there's even one episode she wasn't even credited as voice. That baffles me. Mandy's one of the most interesting characters of the show, and they don't even try to reach her maximum potential. Of course I know why that happened. Mandy was actually not the only victim with this. Grim was also an interesting character, and he could have been more explored, although admittedly he has been more explored than Mandy. If you want to know who's to blame, it's Billy. Sometime around the second and third season, the people behind the show gained a strange obsession with Billy. Suddenly they wouldn't let go of this character. Even stories had to be about him. If I had to guess, it's because it's easy to write stories focused at him. Because he's an idiot. You can put him in pretty much any situation, have him do and say whatever you desire, and just justify by saying that he's an idiot. Not that I believe that's a fair thing to do. Another reason why they may have gained an obsession with Billy was because he was a hit with kids who were fans of the show. Heck, even I adored this guy like crazy when I was a kid. He would always make me roll the ground laughing. Different story now, of course. I mean, I still liked him, but I wish he had less attention. Another possible reason is that they didn't want to risk screwing up Mandy's character, so they would keep as much distance from her as possible. If that was the case, then in a way, I guess I thank you. I'm very glad you didn't screw up Mandy. She's one of my all-time favorite characters, and I like her just the way she is. I would appreciate more time with her, but what we got from her is probably good enough. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Bye for now.